Hey guys, so in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you how my husband and I got pregnant on the first try. Now, this is something that I actually did not anticipate. I did not think that it would happen right away. I'm not sure why. I guess it's because I've heard so many women talk about it could take up to a year and it takes, a while. It might not happen right away, but for us, it happened the first try. So I will give you a little bit of a backstory before I talk about how I was tracking my ovulation schedule and how we planned to get pregnant when we did. But I will just go under kind of my past. So brother or mother, if you're watching this video, probably not going to want to because it's going to get a little TMI. So just letting you know to click out of the video right now. But okay, let's get into it. My husband and I have been together for, it will be 8 years this August. I met him when I was 21 and he was turning 19. So we've been together for a long time. Within the first month of our relationship, I was on birth control, but I had to quickly go off of birth control because just for medical reasons, my doctor said you cannot be on birth control. It just did not agree with my body whatsoever. I had constant bladder infections, I would say 2 a month, constant yeast infections. It was just awful. And it's just something that did not agree with me. It didn't matter what pill I went on. It just was not working for me. And the point where it started to become dangerous was I would get a lot of migraines like all the time, and I would miss a lot of work from it. And it got to the point where my migraines, I'd start to get kind of like a flashing in one eye, and then I couldn't see out of that eye very well. So almost like picture if you're at a club and you know how they've got those flashing lights and it's kind of hard to see. That's what I had in this eye, I believe. And as soon as I told that to my doctor, he was like, okay, so you need to go off because birth control increases your risk of a stroke, and the fact that you're having these symptoms, you could have a stroke if you stay on them. So, and that was very surprising to me because I am very fit. I've always been lean and healthy. I have very good blood pressure. That kind of thing doesn't run in my family. So he said some women just cannot be on birth control. It just does not agree with your body. So right then and there, I went off the pill. So that was probably, I would say I have been off the pill for, I'd say 7 years. It's been a very long time that I have been off the pill. And I do think that might have a lot to do with how we were able to get pregnant so quickly, because I know a lot of people, they say, if you're trying to get pregnant, you should get off the pill and give your body a couple months to adjust going through the natural cycles again and that sort of thing, because the pill can screw up your cycle and just kind of confuse your body. So, excuse me. So I had been off the pill for about 7 years. We did not use any other form of preventative measures other than the pull-out method, which I know might be TMI, but whatever, we're all adults here. So yes, that is what we did for 7 years, was just the pull-out method. And which kind of was one of the reasons why I thought that I wouldn't get pregnant right away, because you hear so many people saying that whenever you do the pull-out method, you can get pregnant. It's still a very good chance that you will. And it had been 7 years and we didn't get pregnant doing that. I do think part of it is because I always was able to feel when I was ovulating. So when I was ovulating, we just wouldn't fool around. And then as soon as it was finished, we'd start up again basically. So we only did the pull-out method, didn't use any other form of birth control, no condoms, no nothing. So we did that for 7 years. So when we talked about getting married and he proposed, we knew we wanted to get married and pregnant right away after. At that time that we got married, I was 28 years old and he was 25. His birthday is November 3rd, mine's May 4th. So when we got married, we got married October 1st of last year. And again, I was 28, he was 25. And everybody around me knew I was determined to get pregnant on our honeymoon. I had the mindset of, it's happening. I am getting pregnant on my honeymoon. And I kept saying it over and over and over. And I told people, I'm like, no, like I'm coming back pregnant. Like I'm being serious. And they kind of laughed at me and said, well, you know, don't get your hopes up because it could take a while. Especially my mom, she knew how much I wanted a baby and to be pregnant. And she was like, just don't get your hopes up. Like it can take quite a bit of time. Like, and I was like, no, trust me, it's happening. So I don't know if having a strong mindset had anything to do with it as well. I'm not saying that if you think it, it'll happen, but I do believe in the power of the mind. There have been tons of medical, what am I trying to say? Medical like research studies that have been done that prove that people who have positive reinforcement and say like, I'm curing my this, or this part of my body is healing. And if you have that positive mindset, those people healed much faster than the ones that did not do that. So it's crazy. The power of the mind is unbelievable. So prior to us getting married, I started using the Ovia app. And it's basically just an app that you download on your phone. I am not sponsored whatsoever, by the way. This is not a sponsored video. I wish I was getting paid for this, but I'm not. And it basically just tells you, like you type in like whenever you start your period, and it will tell you, you say I'm roughly like 28 days or 29 days or 30 days. And you put that in, and it will tell you your like 3 best days to get pregnant and when you should be ovulating. Now, it also takes a total. So if you have been using the app for say 3 months, it kind of knows, like it'll kind of figure out on its own that your period should last about say 28 days because that's your average. So it does take that into account when it tells you when you should be ovulating. So that's really, really cool. It also gives you tips on like what to do to prepare your body for pregnancy and all of that stuff. So it's really, really cool. So I, like I said, have always been able to feel when I'm ovulating. I can tell when it's on one side and then it goes to the other side. For me, it kind of feels like, a period pain, but not nearly as intense. It's more just uncomfortable. And I just feel it in like a straight line down the one side of my body. And that's how I know I'm ovulating. And then I'll get my period. So when we were on the honeymoon, and also at this point I had been taking a prenatal vitamin for I'd say 4 months. So I was on a prenatal vitamin for about 4 months before we started trying to get pregnant, and I was tracking for quite some time as well, just to make sure that my periods were regular and kind of seeing when I was ovulating and that sort of thing. So on the honeymoon, I had my period before the wedding, and actually it worked out brilliantly, thank you God, that I was ovulating on the honeymoon. So then to me that was just a sign of like, I'm gonna be ovulating on my honeymoon. This is happening, like why I'm getting pregnant. So my app told me that it gave me like I think a Monday or like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were my best days to get pregnant. And I was supposed to be ovulating on those days. The Wednesday, so we were intimate on the Tuesday, but the Wednesday morning, I knew I was ovulating because I could feel it. So on that day, my poor husband was tired, but we were intimate 3 times. So I think it was pretty much first thing in the morning because I could feel it. I was like, Colin, I'm ovulating, we need to be intimate. So first thing in the morning, and then I think we went to the beach for a bit, came back, and I was like, okay, let's do this again. So it was probably like after lunch, and then another time like early afternoon or late afternoon. So a total of 3 times. And just to make sure, we were also intimate on the Thursday. Now, every time, this is where it gets a little TMI, but like I said, we're all adults, so. My mom actually told me that if you are trying to get pregnant, after you are intimate, to sit on the bed with a pillow under your hips with your legs straight up for a good 10 to 20 minutes. And apparently the gravity is supposed to help the little swimmers get to the egg. I'm not really sure scientifically if that's a thing, but I had also heard that that could potentially help. So I did that after every time, and you feel kind of silly because like he's like watching TV and like or getting ready to go out, and I'm just like 10 more minutes and just like sitting there with my legs up and a pillow propped underneath. But I swear it worked. So I did that after each time. So then after that, on the Thursday and the Friday, I would say by the Friday, I think I knew that we had conceived. And the reason is because I know how my body works. I can tell when I'm gonna get my period just from different ways my body reacts. I know when I'm ovulating, and usually when I feel my ovulation, it's just one day, then the next day I feel nothing. This was the first time in my entire life since I started getting periods and ovulating that ovulation pain or discomfort carried on for like 4 days after I ovulated. The exact same feeling. And I was like, okay, I've never had this before. So I looked it up, and a lot of people or a lot of websites said that sometimes women, you can actually feel when the egg is fertilized, the egg has to travel down the fallopian tubes, and sometimes women can feel that, and it can be a bit of a discomfort, kind of like ovulation pain. So I was like, oh my god, I bet you like this is happening, and because I had never had that before, so I was pretty sure that it had worked. And I kept saying to myself, like after we tried, I was like, we did it, we made a baby, and I kind of almost envisioned, I know this sounds weird, but I like envisioned my body making like the sperm meeting the egg and making a baby, and it traveling, the little embryo traveling down. And I just said it worked, like I'm pregnant, like I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. And I kept kind of saying that. I think, so the Wednesday was when we conceived for sure, but I think by the Friday or the Saturday, we had to come home on the Sunday. So I think it was the Saturday or the Monday. The Saturday or Sunday, we were at the beach, and I got really nauseous out of nowhere, and I had to get out of the water because I'm like, Colin, I'm gonna throw up. And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm so nauseous. So I got out of the water, and I said to him, I was like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, okay, like he wouldn't know yet, like what are you talking about? Like he hoped that it worked, but he's like, okay, like I don't think you would know this early, but I swear I did. So yeah, that was really weird, and I was still having that kind of uncomfortableness on the one side. So then we left, we came home Thanksgiving Monday, and I didn't say anything to my parents. I didn't tell them about, you know, or my mom, I wouldn't tell my dad, but I didn't tell them about I think we conceived or anything like that. The only person that kind of knew that was Colin. But that whole week, I really started noticing different things, and the first symptom that I had was the following, so we got home Thanksgiving Monday, the following Saturday, I knew I was pregnant for sure that day, because we were at my brother-in-law's, he does all these like fitness races, like Spartan races, and it's like for athletes, and we were there, and I had the sharpest, most pinpoint lower back pain that I had never had before in my entire life. And I thought, okay, like this is different, and I was exhausted. Like we were there for only like 2 hours, and I was like falling asleep, and I was like, Colin, we need to go, like I'm so tired. And he's like, really, are you okay? And I was like, I'm so tired and my back hurts. And I said, I really think I'm pregnant. So then we went home. And the other sure sign that I was pregnant was, usually I have a set of symptoms that indicate that my period's coming. And again, for the first time since I started getting my period, I did not have any of these symptoms. Like not one. Like usually my boobs get really sore, I'm craving sweets, and I get irritable and really emotional. I had none of that. My boobs didn't hurt. I wasn't craving anything. I was just tired and had this back pain. Another symptom that they say is pretty much a sure tell, and I did experience this, was when after you conceive, you're supposed to have quite a bit of like more of a gooey type of you know, not, I don't want to say that word because I hate that word. It's just like more, you're more lubricated down there, if that makes sense, and you can notice it on your underwear. And it's a lot more white. It's not gross or anything, it's just you're more lubricated down there and it's more white. And I had that consistently leading up to when I was supposed to get my period. And I had never had that before. So I knew I was pregnant. So the following Sunday, so we got back, like I said, Thanksgiving Monday, the following Sunday, I took a pregnancy test first thing in the morning. It was a first response test and it was positive. So we got back from our honeymoon and within a week I was testing positive for being pregnant. And I told my husband and I was like, I'm pregnant. And he was like, oh my God, we did it. Like we just were so happy and I cried. And I think we told my parents like that evening or something. So it was really like the coolest experience, but that's how I got pregnant on the first try. I do think that it's a combination of different things. Like I really think if you know, if you're the type of person that can feel when you're ovulating and you just know, I think that will help. And also just having that mindset of I'm gonna get pregnant and not stressing about it. That was the big thing too, and one of the main reasons too I think we got pregnant is just because I was on my honeymoon and I did say, no, we're gonna get pregnant, but I wasn't stressed about it. I was so relaxed and like, yeah, I'm gonna get pregnant, I'm not worried about it. Like, I think it's when you are stressed that makes it very difficult because your body's not gonna produce a human being or get pregnant when you're stressed. It's just not gonna happen. So I think it had to do with the environment we were in, the fact that I was mentally determined to get pregnant. I had been off birth control for quite some time, so my body was, balanced hormonally. I was taking a prenatal for months before, and I was using the app, and I also knew when I was ovulating, and then sitting with your legs in the air also works. So I think a combination of those things ended up with us being pregnant right away. So my family was shocked, and I think Colin's mom, my mother-in-law, her first thing that she said was, already? And I was like, I told you it was gonna happen. And we all laughed about it. But yeah, so now we are expecting our baby girl. I'm 23 weeks pregnant and she is coming June 29th. And I'm so excited to meet her. Like, I can't wait. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story of how we got pregnant on the first try. And I hope any of these tips will help you guys if you're trying to conceive. And yeah, enjoy this time of trying and just relax about it and just let your body do its thing. So yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.